What up, y'all? Currently, I'm on my lunch break at work, but in the meantime, I wanted to record this quick video in regards to Jubilee dropping their latest Surrounded video, where it was 1 Israeli versus 20 pro-Palestinian activists, and I was lucky enough to get selected as one of the 20. And shout out to Jubilee for allowing me to have that experience, and also being fortunate enough to actually get to debate, however brief that was. So just wanted to share my thoughts on what that whole experience was like. So first of all, we shot that video back in January of this year, so 3 months ago, and I wanted to correct the record on one thing that I had mentioned during my segment of the debate, and it's one thing that I wish that I hit harder. But basically, when I was talking about how Israel had the clear intention of ethnically cleansing Palestinians out of Gaza, but I also mentioned how they weren't doing it in Lebanon, I said something to that effect. And what I wish I had brought up and hit harder was that Israel had violated its ceasefire with Lebanon over 14,000 times at the time that we recorded that episode. And since then, ever since, the United States got dragged into this war with Iran to fight on Israel's behalf, let's make no mistake about it, this is definitely within Israel's interest, not within the United States', is to form their greater Israel or imperialistic journey, however you want to describe it. But let's not sugarcoat it. It is what it is. And within that time, Israel started leveling in Lebanon, and even amongst the first ceasefire that Trump said that Trump had agreed with Iran, of course, Israel had zero regard for it, as literally hours after that, they just started bombing Beirut 100 different times just to kill as many innocent people as they possibly can. And I talk about how this is their actual policy. Like, this isn't a matter of whoopsie, whoever's in the way is just going to get destroyed, and this is just, the fog of war, the casualty of war bullshit. This is their literal policy within the Dahia doctrine, where collective punishment is their version of self-defense. So ultimately, I wish I had hit that harder, but I'm taking this time retroactively to correct what I had said on the record. And now I want to get to Rudy Rockman himself. Now, what you see in the video is him probably, I don't know, thousands of times saying, I see Palestinians as my cousins, I see Arabs as my cousins, and we have to share this land collectively, in that soft-spoken voice demeanor that he has to make him seem like, a calm, rational human being. Let me tell you something. When I sat across from him and looked him in his eyes, I had never had this experience with another human being in my life, but I have never spoken to somebody with, once I made eye contact with them, there was nothing behind those eyes. I'm talking no empathy, no compassion, no conscience whatsoever. Like, for lack of a better term, it felt like I was speaking to a murderous sociopath. And I don't know if that resonated on screen with you guys, and I can't speak for any of the other debaters, but it certainly felt that way, as somebody who's just been desensitized and had their soul removed from them, from the environment that they came up with just to spew Hasbara talking points. And not only that, what you guys didn't get to see on camera, and every person that participated in this debate can back me up on this, there were many instances off camera he referred to himself unironically as, I'm not a weak Jew, I'm a strong Jewish man, I am a strong protector of the Jewish people. And all that did was remind me of that Game of Thrones episode where Joffrey is at the round table and he bangs his fist on the table going, I am the king. And then his grandfather Tywin pipes up and he goes, any man who has to say that he's the king is no true king. I was trying to say that in my terrible British accent. But ultimately, that's what I thought of when Rudy Rockman had said that. And not only that, and in between takes, before, if you could picture this, so we're in that warehouse, like ready to, sit in the circle and be filmed. This man straight up had 2 armed LAPD officers escort him from his holding area. Mind you, the 20 of us had our own little holding area with a table off to the side of the circle where we're all kind of hanging out. He had his own private room that was walled off to separate us, right? He didn't want to engage with us at all with the cameras off. And when we had to take a break in between topics, this man literally had those same armed LAPD officers walk to the circle. He got up and escort him out into his own private holding area about 100 feet away from the rest of us. I don't know what kind of strong Jewish man would do such a thing if they're going to claim to be that. And finally, the last thing I wanted to touch upon was I had prepared a lot more than what that video got to see, what you guys got to see in the video, regarding the topics of Zionism and why it isn't Judaism. Just if any person wants to drive home the point that, Zionism is just the right of self-determination of the Jewish people in their ancestral homeland, do yourself a favor and just Google Ethiopian Jews Depo-Provera, and you'll know all about Israel seeing all Jews as the same, as Israel being the homeland and the ancestral homeland and the protector of all Jews in the world, because they've made it very clear that it is a caste system amongst the Jewish population that live in Israel, with Ashkenazis at the top, Mizrahi Sephardic next, Ethiopian Jews, Arab Jews, and then the untouchable class underneath that caste pyramid are all Muslim and Christian Palestinians. That's colonialism. It's not so for him to call it an anti-colonization ism or whatever the hell he said that it was, yeah, it's interesting to call it anti-colonization when you use colonialist tactics to both achieve and maintain your goals. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. But I just had to get that off my chest. All right, my time's almost up. I gotta run. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions about the experience, just shoot me a DM, and love to talk more about it. I'm out.